Hello and welcome back to Seaside Garage and the XM project. It's time to move this project along. I have been waiting for some parts for this one. Now they are here, and also a very important piece of kit has arrived. I got a PROXIA tester to hopefully plug into this computer and ask it politely if it knows what's wrong with it. The issue I'm having is sometimes it runs perfect on all the cylinders, then the next day it doesn't. Then it won't restart when it's hot, then it's no problem to restart when it's hot. Then sometimes the starter motor is slow to turn the engine. Sometimes it's perfect. A lot of these issues are pointing towards earthing problems, but I have taken a look at that. I have actually also changed the battery terminals, and I'm not sure it's earthing problems, but it do really seem that way. But anyway, what I want to do now, that I found out some time ago that the battery light is not working, well, it's not coming on when the car is in ignition, and it's not on when the engine is running. And I didn't really notice that before the battery went dead. Then I measured the output from the generator when the engine is running. There is no output from the generator. So the generator got a problem. I got a comment in the previous video because I was a bit sad that I found out about this now when the front end is back on the car, because the generator is hidden down there. Someone told me that it took him 10 minutes to remove. I just want to say, if that's true, then you are really talented. It is possible to get it out though, because I don't have the front end, the bumper on. I think it would be possible anyway, but it's not a 10-minute job, that's for sure. You will have to remove the strut, the bracing of the subframe and stuff. But I got the generator out right now, and I want to show you the problem, and then we're going to try to fix it. As you can see, I got the generator out right now. It's just stuck in between the subframe right now because I want to show you that show you the actual problem. So I have put on the output and the signal wire, the input. Right now it's not really grounded that well because it's just lying on top of a rusty subframe. So I'm just going to ground it with a wire. The other end of this wire is just going to the negative terminal on the battery. So now it's actually connected like it was on the car, and it's just attached to the battery negative. Oh, this is such a cool place to be. Anyway, when I put it in ignition, the lights turns on. But there are no battery light. It's supposed to be just above the radiator and next to the oil light, and it's not coming on. So let's remove this. It spins freely. I have a feeling that the voltage regulator is the problem because I've now tested with the wire so that it's not a grounding issue. I also checked the small wire, the signal wire that is turning the battery light on, that it got power when the car is in ignition, and it does. And another thing I can show you is if I ground this one out like that and put the car in ignition, we got a battery light. So the circuit in the car is also working. So I think it's the voltage regulator that is the problem, I hope. You will notice that the backing plate is missing from this because I have already taken that off and got all the parts right there. And now I'm going to swap this. And this is one of those nice things where you could actually get... It was difficult to find the correct spare parts because I had to read the numbers on this one and then Google around. But it was possible because a new generator, or alternator I think is the correct word actually, for this would set me back, or well, not me, but the owner of the car, Niels Petter and Bilklubben, it would set them back maybe a couple of €100. Not a lot, but still, there's a lot of other parts needed for this car. Nothing is wrong with the brushes, though they are not stuck or anything. But I did manage to find a replacement part, and I think I paid 10, maybe €20 with the shipping and all that for this part. So that's pretty nice and a lot less than €200 for the big part, and it doesn't even have a noisy bearing or anything. So repair instead of just replace. Let's fit that one. before we put everything back together, let's just test that this one actually turns the battery light on when the car is in ignition and everything is wired up, because that could be pretty cool. Yeah, it wasn't a one-handed job, so I just put everything back on. Let's put it into ignition and take a look at that battery light. Oh yeah, the battery light is coming on. Nice, nice, nice. So what I want to do right now is to just put the generator back in its cave and tighten everything up. Then I'm gonna start the car up and make sure that it's actually charging the battery. And if so, then we at least got one problem solved. And it's been a while since I actually solved anything on the XM, so that would be really nice. So with the generator back in the dungeon, let's test if it works. Battery light on. Oh, remember the key. And then let's see if it turns off when the engine is running. Yeah, of course, it's hard to start now because it's quite hot. So this hasn't fixed the hot starting issue, unfortunately. I was hoping that maybe there was a short in that system that could mess stuff up, but apparently not. Oh, almost. There we go, it's running. And the battery light is no longer on. Woohoo! And it's actually charging also. So that's nice. It's gonna charge more with more revs, but it's above 12, so that's fine. Woohoo! One fix. But it did definitely not fix the hot starting issue or the running issue. It's running really terrible right now. So I was really hoping that maybe down to the fact that it maybe have shorted out the generator, that the positive signal was messing up stuff. But anyway, it hasn't fixed anything other than the charging issue, which was an issue. So that's nice to have fixed. Yeah, we still have a running issue. Next up, I'm going to try to see if the ECU can tell me something. So next up, woo! It's time for some really old school computer tech. So this is a PROXIA, which got the program called Lexia on it. And it's also being very 90s. I've forgotten about the sounds that these old school computers made. Like that one, for instance. That in itself is an experience. Now it's in Danish, but it's starting up Windows 98 at the moment. It's lovely. This is not mine, but I was lucky to be able to loan this for a bit. There we go, PROXIA. And to be completely honest with you, this is not the first time that I try. Oh, listen to this. Woo! This is not the first time that I try this, so I know the outcome of this. But I want to take you on the journey. Now we're going to want to pick PROXIA. This is not a touchscreen, by the way. There we go. Okay, so it's in Danish, but the top one is Diagnostics. I'm going to take that, and then we're going to find the Citroen XM right there. Then we're going to push in the OCRA code. And choose engine, and choose the engine as case set. Now it's telling me to connect the PROXIA to the battery of the car and the diagnostic connector. So let's do that, like that. Now it wants to be in ignition, and it wants the code to be punched in, so the system isn't locked, and it's still active, I can see. Yeah, the fan is kicking on. That's because the air condition, for some reason, has decided to be on all the time. It just has it got its own, this car just got its own life in the electrical compartment, which still is telling me that ground is the issue. But yeah, we're gonna press continue. And then it's telling me, warning, the communications card is not found. I don't really know what that means, but it tells me to check that the connector is connected right to the car, and it is. So I can actually power through this error code, but I don't think it's a good idea to do. But I can do that and tell it to connect anyway, because everything is connected up correctly. And I also checked all the connections and made sure that everything is nice and clean. But I do think you get where this is going. It's trying to connect. Still trying to connect. Everything went a little bit slower back then. But this is a lovely kit. I'm going to try to use it on the BX 4x4 later. To see if it's the system that's something wrong with, because the issue is that it won't connect. As you can see right there, it's telling me it's impossible to communicate with the computer, and it asks me to check that all the connections are secure and the battery is connected and all that, and it tells me to try again, putting the ignition on and off and try again. Nothing will work. So unfortunately this is not going to work at the moment. Well, let's exit this and then just appreciate Windows 98. Goodbye. This is a really cool piece of kit, but unfortunately it's not helping me at the moment. And I don't know why. I know this diagnostic tool is being used a couple of times a year by the guy I lent it from. So it's supposed to work. He did tell me that he sometimes had some issues with the connections, but I have checked them all over. It seems to work fine. So it's always a bit difficult when you have a really old car, some really old electronic equipment. Sometimes it can be a little bit difficult to figure out what's wrong. Is it the equipment? Is it the car? Is it, But at the moment I can't connect to the ECU with my diagnostic tool. I did in the previous video get some error codes blinked from the ECU by using an LED. That worked fine. So that is telling me that the ECU is working, but something is wrong and I just don't know what it is. And it's a shame because it's puzzling me, this issue. Unfortunately, I also think if I connect to the ECU, I'm not sure it will tell me what the problem is, because it seems to be intermittent and seems to be, what I really fear is that it's something to do with wires being chewed on by rats or water in the ECU, or something that you won't just fix by by giving it a slight tap or something like that. So now the generator is working, but I'm still a little bit clueless about the running issues. So I will have to do some more investigating, hopefully get in contact with some people who knows this system a little bit better. And meanwhile, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and do some more testing on the actual ground system on this car, because it is really pointing toward a ground issue. This thing with the starter engine sometimes turning a bit slower, and when that occurs, the ref counter will also jump to 6,000 RPMs while it turns, and then the next time you try it, it spins completely normal, fast, and the ref counter is not doing anything weird. I'm a bit puzzled about this. So a little video with not a lot of progress, but I really wanted to show you this cool piece of equipment, even though it didn't really work out for me this time. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next one.